Right then, let's rank the EFL Championship fan bases that I have seen this season. Hello guys, and welcome back to yet another video. As I say, I am ranking all of the Championship fan bases from the 24-25 season that came to the CBS, those fans that were sent to Coventry. If you're not aware, I am a Coventry City season ticket holder and I went to every single home game this year, and like I say, I have seen all of the different away fans and I'm going to rank them today on the noise that they made, the numbers that they brought, all of that sort of stuff. And it is my opinion, okay? If you disagree, that's fair enough, but don't get all upset because we are all entitled to our own opinions. If you have a different opinion, then that is fair enough. If you're a Coventry fan that went to all of these games, let me know your thoughts as well. You might agree, you might disagree, and if you did come to Coventry, let me know your thoughts. And if you saw the Coventry City fans come to your ground this season, then feel free to share your thoughts on them as well. Like I say guys, let's have some fun. Let's not all get upset in the comments. It is just a matter of opinion. I'm not here trying to hate on teams more than others. It's a bit of fun. And with that said, let's go for a like target. 2,000 likes. It takes 2 seconds to hit the thumbs up button, and make sure to subscribe. It takes only 2 seconds, so subscribe and help us push to 99,000. Thank you for your support. And with all of that said, let's get into the ranking. So then, you can see in front of me, we have a tier list. We have A for the best fans, B, C, and D obviously being the lowest category. As I say, I'm not going to be horrible. I respect any fans that do travel to away games. They're all brilliant, but let's see which ones were better than the others. I've got them in order of which they came to the CBS, and as I say, I didn't miss a home match all season. Let's go through this then, guys, and we start with Oxford United, the first home game of the season for Coventry, and it was on a Friday night. Fair play to Oxford. They brought about 2,000 fans. They made a decent noise. They were singing that they were top of the league at one point, because for a moment they were. We beat them 3-2, crazy game. I thought they were decent. I think I'm going to put Oxford United in C, probably like a C+. They were actually the first team to come twice this season as well, because they came for the second home game of the season for the League Cup, but I won't rank it on the League Cup game because both sets of fans didn't have as many numbers, which is understandable. Norwich City. Norwich brought, I think it was just under 2,000, decent support. I think Norwich can have a C+. Not far off a B. I think I'll put Norwich there. I'm just factoring into it that Norwich is quite far away, 3 hours away, and they brought decent numbers. They made a decent noise. They're always singing On the Ball City, of course. I've seen them bring a few more before, so I won't say it's the best I've seen of Norwich, but they did get the win, so they were celebrating, and fair play to them. Swansea City came next. I think I might go B-. It's in the B category for me. They made a real good noise. They of course came and won like Norwich did, and once again fair play to Swansea, because Swansea and Norwich are both in awkward locations and it's quite difficult to get to any away game unless it's Cardiff or Ipswich, which are the closest ones to those teams. They brought just over 1,000 I believe, and like I say, they did make a decent noise, so I'll put Swansea in B. Blackburn Rovers came next. This one was midweek. It was a pretty wet and horrible Tuesday night, so fair play to the Blackburn fans that did come. I think I'm going to go D. They didn't bring many fans, and at the time they were, I think, unbeaten in the league, so I would have thought they'd bring more. They have brought more in previous seasons, to be fair, so I have seen Blackburn bring good numbers and make good noise, but on this occasion they lost 3-0. It was a wet Tuesday night. It wasn't the best support, if I'm being honest. Next up were Sheffield Wednesday, and they can go straight up in A, probably A star. It's probably the best limbs I've seen this season at the CBS in the away end, because Sheffield Wednesday brought a sold-out away allocation, made a good noise the whole way through, and scored a last-minute winner. They did actually come twice this season. They came in the FA Cup where they brought 5,000 fans. Didn't make as much noise for that one though, but in the league, which is what we are judging this on, they were the best. I think they're one of the best, maybe A star for me, because like I say, singing their songs, Hi Ho Sheffield Wednesday, I Love You Wednesday, Danny Roll, all of those songs, they made a great noise. They really got excited when they scored that last minute winner. So Sheffield Wednesday, undoubtedly one of the best I have seen this season. I've always thought Sheffield Wednesday's away support is incredible. Coventry did return the favour though by beating Sheffield Wednesday 2-1 in the last minute at Hillsborough later in the season. But like I say, when Wednesday came to Coventry, I thought they were great. Luton Town up next. Luton, I'm going to say C. They brought about 2,000 fans, and to be fair to them, they made a decent noise in the first half because they went 2-0 up. They were singing "We Saw You Crying" at Wembley because obviously they beat us at Wembley a year or two before. I'm going to have them as a C. It went a little bit quiet when the game started to turn though, but decent from Luton. Derby County can go straight up in A. Obviously, it does help if your team comes and wins, and they made a good noise. They were winning for most of the game. They were obviously doing the bounce that the Derby County fans do. They made a real racket and they roared their team over the line. I think it was their first away win of the season. How many more away games did they win? They only won about 2 away games, didn't they? It might have been 3. But there you go. Derby, yeah, right up there. Some of the best I've seen this season. Sheffield United, I think B. At the top end of B, brought a few thousand, which was decent, made a decent bit of noise. Obviously the game sort of ebbed and flowed. Coventry were behind twice and Sheffield United's fans were making a bit of noise then. Then they had a red card. So the numbers were decent, the noise was decent. I remember in the last minute, Sheffield United had a chance where they broke through and nearly snatched the game, and oh my God, the scenes would have been unbelievable for the Sheffield United fans if they had have snatched that game, because they were, like I say, sort of clinging on with 10 men for a lot of that game. Yeah, I'm going to put them in B. Let me know your thoughts if you are a Blades fan. Next up, we have got Cardiff City. I'm going to put them in B as well. I thought Cardiff made a decent noise. We're getting into the winter months here and the numbers can drop off a little bit, but they still brought, what, 1,500 roughly? It was a decent following and they made a decent noise. It was a decent game. It was Frank Lampard's first game, to be fair. Yeah, I'm going to put them in B. I thought they were pretty solid. Once again, it's not one of the closest games. Well, from where Cardiff are concerned, it probably is, but from where Coventry are, Cardiff's not that local, is it? 2.5 hours, I'd say. Hull City, do you know what? I think I've seen Hull City's fans be better. I think you've got to factor in that this was when Hull City were down in the bottom 3. I think Ruben Sellers had just come in. There wasn't a lot of positivity at this moment for Hull, so they didn't bring loads of fans. They did actually take the lead, but Coventry came back and won, and the Hull fans did go a bit quiet. They are good fans at Hull, but on this occasion they didn't bring many, and the noise wasn't the best. I've seen them bring more though, like I say. Plymouth Argyle, this is difficult because when you're 4-0 down at half time, it's difficult for a fan base to be really loud. I respect that on Boxing Day, Plymouth brought, what, nearly 2,000 fans, and they were bottom of the league and they got destroyed, and I think even some of their fans did leave at half time. But that said, I've got to put some respect on their name. They are a good fan base and they travel in their numbers. Let's have them there. It's what, the furthest ground from Coventry, or Sunderland is. They're both about 4 hours away. I'm going to put Plymouth, let's put them there. I'm going to give them a B. I'm going to be nice to Plymouth. Millwall, I think this is a solid C. This game was between Christmas and New Year, and it's a bit busy, the schedule then, and not every fan can get to every game at that point, especially away from home. They brought decent numbers. The game was actually a bore draw. I think it was the only 0-0 at the CBS this season, which didn't help, but I'll still give them a C. Bristol City, I think I'm going to go C. I'm going to go there. Once again, a bit like the Millwall game, if the game's not great, it's difficult for the fans to really keep the atmosphere going. Once again, a cold Saturday in January, it's a bit miserable, and yeah, like I say, we beat them 1-0. They didn't make a lot of noise. They did bring a few fans, to be fair. I think they brought about 2,000, so that's pretty good. Watford, do you know what? I'm going to give Watford a B. I'm going to give them a B- because they brought a fair few fans, and what impressed me was the way they all supported cleverly at the end. Now, we did beat them 2-1. They scored in the final 15 minutes, and then, you know, they had that inevitable roar of trying to get the team forwards, trying to get the equaliser. It got a bit tense. They didn't do it, but at the end they were all showing their support to Tom Cleverley, which we haven't actually touched on this channel yet. He has now left Watford, which is not great. Obviously he's been sacked. I don't know what to say in regards to that, Watford fans. I thought, you know, if you stick with him, you might have a bright future, because you did do pretty well this season. But if you're a Watford fan, do share your thoughts. I thought your fans were pretty decent. I'll give you a B. Leeds United, was it ever in doubt? I'm going to go there. They're definitely an A. They were making noise all game long, and it did help that they beat us for their sake, because I can imagine if Coventry were 2-0 up, we would have made more noise. But yeah, they destroyed us on the pitch. They destroyed us off the pitch, to be fair. We went quiet. They made a lot of noise. And then they were taunting Frank Lampard, of course, as well. Yeah, they were very good. What else do you expect from the Leeds United fan base, to be fair? They're right up there. It was a sold-out away allocation, like I say. What do you expect? QPR? C? I think, once again, if it's midweek, if it's cold, if it's February, it's difficult for some fan bases to bring loads. That said, the week before, Leeds did bring loads, but slightly different kettle of fish. I have seen QPR bring 4,000 before, so I know that they're a good fan base, of course, but on this occasion they didn't bring loads. But as I say, fair play to the ones that came in a midweek game. They lost in the last minute. I remember, though, they had a corner in the last minute, and when they got that corner, they made such a loud noise. You'd thought they'd scored, and then a minute later we got a corner and we scored. But yeah, their fans were decent. Preston, I think Preston's always got to be a B. Or higher, because Preston's fans are good. They came in their numbers, they made a bit of noise. They were probably in shock that they actually came to the CBS and lost, because they usually have a good record against Coventry. But once again, it was one of those games, a bit like the Watford one, where Coventry went 2-0 up, Preston pulled one back, and then it was very tense, and the Preston fans were really urging their team forwards, and it was a bit nail-biting for the Coventry fans. Yeah, they were pretty decent, I've got to say. Stoke City, I'm going to go in A. I think Stoke were really good this year. I've seen them be really good at Coventry before, especially when they came and beat us 4-0 a few years ago. It did help that this game was on a nice Saturday and it was a good game. We went 2-0 up, they pulled it back to 2-2. Their fans singing that why Delilah song, they're making so much noise, and they're also singing 2-0 and you've effed it up. And then Coventry go and score in the last minute, and we give it some back to the Stoke fans. And then right at the end, when I'm leaving the ground, all the Stoke fans were trying to get at the Coventry fans, and there was a fence and some police trying to separate all of them. It was absolutely crazy, but they were really good. Some of the most passionate this season. Stoke fans are an A. Sunderland, I think it's got to be a B. I'll go there. The thing is, Sunderland fans always impress me with numbers. You know, you think how far away Sunderland is from everywhere, and they always pretty much sell out the away allocation. They did on this occasion, but the game didn't help because they lost 3-0, so they didn't make a lot of noise on this occasion. We will be seeing Sunderland at Coventry this week again in the playoffs, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, like I say, their fans always come in numbers, but on this occasion, not a lot of noise. Burnley are a B+. They could be close to an A. Obviously, they came, they beat us. The thing that was a bit of a puzzler was they were, what, second in the league? They didn't sell out the away allocation. And you think they're gunning for the title with a couple games to go, you would think they'd sell out the away end. That said, I get that Burnley's only got a population of 100,000. It's probably about that, isn't it? Maybe smarten me up in the comments. But they did make a good noise, the ones that came, and they won the game, which did help for their sake. Portsmouth. Now, this is an interesting one. When an away fan base comes to your ground and they don't score, you haven't seen them have limbs. But that said, I still have to give Portsmouth an A. Now, we beat them 1-0 with a last-minute goal from Jamie Patterson, and obviously the Coventry end exploded. But for the 90 minutes up to that point, the Portsmouth fans were making most of the noise, if I'm being honest. They were really, really good. And they've been a great addition to this league, as I say. Not just the club and the players that they've brought, the fans. They've been really impressive. Any ground they've gone to this season, they've been really, really impressive. They made a real racket, and they're going in A for me. West Brom. Ooh, West Brom. B, I reckon. There's a lot in B, by the way, but I think West Brom are going to get a B from me because of the numbers. I get it's one of the more local grounds, but at the start of the game, what, 3,000 West Brom fans singing, you know, "The Lord's my shepherd," very loud. But then the game starts and Coventry take over and it goes a little bit quiet. So that's why they're not an A this time. But I have seen them make a bit more noise. That's why I'm going B. Yeah, I think that's fair. Let me know your thoughts if you're a West Brom fan. It wasn't the most memorable away day, was it? And finally, we have Middlesbrough, which I'm also going to have in A. Because I got to speak to quite a few Middlesbrough fans before the game. They were really nice. When the game started, they made a good noise. A little bit of nervousness, but the thing that will stick in my mind is when it was full time and Coventry had won, the Middlesbrough fans were still making some noise. You had them all dressed up in fancy dress. I remember someone dressed up as 118, you know, from the advert, and he was dancing along with the Coventry fans and they were just enjoying themselves. So I just think, yeah, they've got to be an A. Once again, it is quite far away from most places, so the Middlesbrough fans get my respect. And I think Sheffield Wednesday were the best. I think Leeds will go second. I think Pompey and Derby third and fourth, and I'm pretty happy with the rest of this list. As I say, if your team is a little bit lower down, it doesn't mean I hate you. Let's try and be mature. It just means on this occasion, I thought other fans made a bit more noise or brought more numbers. And there you have it. That wraps up my tier list ranking the away fans that came to Coventry in the 24-25 season. And yeah, it's a bit of fun. Let's be mature. Let's not get in the comments and say, "Oh, you hate us, you don't like us." I don't hate anyone, all right? I'm nice. I like all of these fan bases, but if I'm going to rank them, some are going to be higher than others. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the Coventry fans that came to your place. Let me know if you did come to Coventry this season, and make sure to support the video. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe. We've got plenty of Championship content coming over the next couple of weeks. Get involved by liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Peace out.